I think we're gonna see a rise of other turn-based game or maybe franchises that might take a new approach to turn-based, in my opinion. Because I do feel like there has been a lot of obviously again turn-based debate, which obviously we know some franchises are walking away from because they don't think that that's what people want anymore.
But
When there is
clearly
still a
people want it. There's an audience
exactly,
for it.
I think
Yeah.
people want it. There is an audience for it, so I do think this game will impact other studios. I think they're gonna look at it and be like, okay, what did they do right? Because at the end of the day, it's a business. Like, obviously, it's
Absolutely.
art, but it's also a business, and they are in the business of making money, right? So I think they're gonna look at this game and be like, what did work with this game, and what can we do?
Bonjour, mes amis. What's going on? It's Andy Brew here. And today, for this episode of What's Brewing, we have Cyuni in the house. Cyuni, what's good? Thank you for coming on the podcast. If you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you do on the internet, and then we're going.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for having me. First of all, I'm really really excited about this. But yeah, I'm Cyuni. I also go by just C if that's easier. And I love doing first playthroughs and sharing that with everyone who wants to watch on the internet. It's really fun. I mostly play RPGs. And retro games as well. I love collecting retro games, so if there is something that I want to play on original hardware, I'll try to do that, which makes it harder, but it's really fun. Um, and I tend to play very long games. I think that's the main thing about me is I get into really long series and very long games, but there's something just very comforting about having a long game or long series to get into. So that's currently what I'm doing. I just started Persona 5, so another long game.
Yeah, I know we got a lot of Persona 5 scholars that tend to tune into my channel. So please go check out Cyuni. I'll have all her links in this description because she just started Persona 5
Just
Royal.
started.
So that's a long one. But today we're going to be talking about a little game that came out last year. So let's talk about what's brewing. Expedition 33, Clair Obscur. This game released in April of last year, and it just took the industry by storm. It won the most awards ever at the Game Awards. I think it's like surpassed Elden Ring and just like awards in general, which is insane because Elden Ring came out I think in 2022,
Yeah.
which is in my opinion one of like that's a top 10, of all time for me. And it's like this game just shook up the industry. And it made a huge impact, I think, not just on players, but also on developers and things like that as well. So first, I want to ask Cyuni, because you played through this game, and it seemed like you really liked this game. Hello, cat.
Yes, she heard. She was.
She
I'm
heard,
like,
she said, I need to get in on the E33 discussion.
she was sleeping, and she just like, no, hold up, I gotta show that I'm here too.
So tell me how Expedition 33 impacted you personally.
That's a very good question because it was honestly like the game. It was obviously the game like the game of the year for me, my game of the year. But I also think this is a game that is now in my top 3 games of all time, which says a lot because I do have a lot of favorites, but this game just changed me. I don't know how they did that, but they did. It's also a game I wasn't expecting to be so impactful. Like obviously I remember when it was coming out and it was on my list, but I wasn't going to play it day one. It was kind of one of those where I was like, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna get it, but it will be something a little later. And then obviously the game is still French, right? It is made by a French developers and it's so French. And I think this is why I relate to it so much because I'm French. And just being able obviously like the story itself is not necessarily like French, I guess you would say, but it's all the French that they left in there. Because obviously the game you can play it in English and it's full voice acting in English, but they did leave a lot of French words or expressions, and they did have a lot of wordplay with certain French things in the game that it was just wonderful for me to see. It was like I'm reconnecting with my Frenchness, if I can say that, because I do live in the US. And I've been here for about 12 years, so I haven't lived in France for this long, and obviously it's a choice that I made, and I do love France, and I go visit from time to time, but I also do miss it. You know, like I wouldn't necessarily move back, but I do miss it, and I think I didn't realize how much I miss it or how much it's a part of me until I played E33. Which I know is kind of odd because that's literally just me. Like, I'm French, right? Like, it's just my life. But the game just made me reconnect with that. And I think this is why it means so much to me. Aside from just the story and the characters, which is, like, obviously a whole thing I fell in love with. But the Frenchness of it was just everything.
The Frenchness of it. I love that. It's kind of like you were getting a slice of home, right? Like,
exactly.
in a video game. Yeah, and
exactly.
It's like the game is so unapologetically French. It's so funny, and I've
Yes.
never I don't know anything about like France outside of like the Eiffel Tower. I had a friend he was a missionary in France for a little bit. That was it. You know, I've never been. You know, just don't really know anything about it, and I've most certainly never played a French video game to my knowledge before, but. I feel like it almost like made me French in a way. Like
It
because
does. I don't know. It's like,
yeah.
okay, so when I first came to like the US and you meet a lot of like, not just people from here, but I went to an English school, right? So a lot of the people there were just international students as well. And the French stereotypes are real. You would be amazed the amount of people, the first time you talk to them, the first thing they tell you is baguette. And I'm like, yes, we do eat a lot of bread and we do eat baguette every day, but like, that's not the only thing. And I just love that they know, like it's
They
funny,
embraced
right?
it.
But
Yeah.
they embraced it, and I love that because it comes to a point where it can be a lot, but the fact that in the game you can literally dress in the most French outfit and you can carry a baguette on your back, it's just so funny to me. And I love that you're right, like they embraced it. And I think it's amazing because like the story, like if you think about it, like the story and the world and everything, it could kind of take place anywhere. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be France.
Sure.
Right. But obviously, and they could have done that. They could have been like, we can just make it like a full non-related to any country whatsoever.
Sure.
But because they are French, they decided to leave it in there. And I think it's just beautiful to me. It's perfect.
Yeah, E33 I would also probably put in my top 3 now of all time. Like after I finished it, I was like, this is the greatest game ever made. And then like after thinking about it, I was like, okay, maybe glazing, but I'm glazing for a reason, you know. So it's like I would put in my top 3, top 5 of all time. It definitely. And again, I'm Italian, you know, so like it didn't hit me the same way it hit you, but I felt like I got like a piece of France. You know, with this game. And so something that actually the Landy Lodge said on the first podcast we did, because we were talking about like the Game Awards and we obviously talked about E33. And this, I always remember this and it's so true. But he said like, if you go to Japan, are you going to want spaghetti or ramen? You're going to want ramen. If you go to Italy, you're going to want spaghetti or ramen. Well, you're going to want spaghetti. When you go to France, you're expecting to get something French, and that's how it should be. And I'm glad that they embraced. I don't know. It sounds weird. I'm glad they embraced their Frenchness. You know, like
No,
they
it's true.
Yeah, and I think like I have such high hopes for Sandfall in the future, whatever they choose to do next. But this game, in more ways than one, just I feel like left an impact on me as well. You could tell that the developers just had so much fun with it. It's oozing with passion, every detail. And I think for me, it was like the story and the characters.
Yes.
And we are going to talk about spoilers because I do want to ask you something because this was going through my head the entire time.
Okay.
I was thinking about this podcast, but whenever you got to the second Renoir fight, and then that song starts playing and they're singing in
Yes.
French. So did you like understand what they were saying whenever like the song was playing? Or were you just so like you were just so like in the zone that you couldn't? I'm very curious to hear your perspective on it because I
Yes.
heard that song and I was like, oh my goodness, this song's amazing. Like I'm jamming out to it, but I have no idea what they're saying.
Yes. I think this is like reverting back to what I said earlier, but that's also why I feel like it impacted me so much because there is a lot of like the songs and things like that. So it was very funny because obviously when I played the game, a lot of people had said, be careful about listening to some of the lyrics in French because they are very spoilery.
Yeah.
I think the first song that was very spoilery is actually the Overworld song when you start Act 2. It changes, and there is already some spoilers in that. It's not like full on telling you what is going on, but if you listen very carefully, it kind of tells you. And the same with that song. If you listen, even just before that fight, when you get to the monolith, and there is the song about the paintress, it already tells you. So I was trying not to pay too much attention, and I think it was helpful that I was streaming because obviously as I'm streaming, I'm reading chat, I'm talking to chat, and I'm doing it all in English. So obviously I still understand, but I'm not paying as much attention. And it was kind of the same when I got to the fight because I was trying to process the story. I was headbanging to music. I was catching up with chat. So I think it didn't spoil me as much. But I do think listening still to the song helped me get a better understanding of the story faster,
Sure.
if that makes sense. I feel like I was able to put pieces of the puzzles together faster. Or
Yeah.
it didn't feel as, obviously it was still shocking, but it didn't feel necessarily confusing or anything. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so like before like before Verso reads the letter at the end of Act 2. So were you kind of like already like putting some stuff together because you were like listening to like the
Yes.
lyrics and stuff and
Yeah,
things
it
like that.
basically tells you, that he's gone and he has passed on and all of that. Like you do get that. You're like, yeah,
That's
this
so
is what is going
crazy
on.
because I was wondering like if I was very curious to hear your perspective because I was wondering if like that would have spoiled something for you because obviously like it is a huge spoiler and yeah, granted that exposition takes place like right after the fight with Renoir and the Paintress and things like that, but you don't think you got like spoiled or anything? You just
I
think it
don't
kind of
think-
helped you like understand more what's going on.
Yeah, I think because I didn't look them up, so I didn't actually like read it. And I'm a very
Right.
visual person, so I feel like my brain registers better when I actually read. But I think because I was warned that it was going to be spoiler, I think I tried not to pay attention to the songs as much as I could. But I do think that I still heard some words
Of
and
course.
things. You know, I can't help it. Like that's my native language. So I just, even if I tried not to pay attention or tune it out, I heard a few things that it wasn't fully spoilery, but it did cue me in on some stuff very early on. And obviously, as the story progresses and you see some things, it makes sense really, really fast.
Yeah.
But I still think the like the final, plot twist of Act 2 was still like a shock still, if that makes sense. Like it wasn't, oh my god, everything is spoiled out.
Yeah.
But I also do think that listening to the French lyrics in a lot of the moments, like even song at the end, and there is another place, an optional area that you go to, and it's kind of like a poem.
Yes,
it's kind of like-
yes,
yeah.
I know what you're talking about because I went there. I don't remember what it's called, but I went there and I'm like, oh, this is really nice. And then somebody just starts speaking French in my ear,
Yes.
and I'm like, and I just sat there and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm vibing.
It sounds nice, but
Yeah.
for me, like I got to that place and it
Yeah.
teared me up. Like I was really
Wow.
tearing up because I don't know, it was just listening to it and just because it's basically like poetry, I kind of like
Yeah.
half sang or like with music, but it was just so beautiful. And one of the ending as well that has the French lyrics. Listening to that,
I think
as
the
you're going
verso
through the
ending.
emotion, yes, I
Yes.
was like, oh my god, like I was already going through it, but
Yeah.
listening to those lyrics, I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is devastating. So I do think that obviously, if you understand French, it does add to the game in those areas because those like it's not just music that is there just to have music. The
Yeah.
lyrics actually tell the story as well. So
Yeah, I think I didn't look up the lyrics to the I can't remember what the song is in the verso ending. That one and then like that other place. I remember I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation, but it's
no, that's okay.
Une Via Tamier or
That's
the
me. Yes.
yes, the Renoir battle.
Yes. Yes.
After
Yes.
I had to look up the lyrics to that after I did it after I was done with
Yes.
the game, but I'm like, oh my gosh, it was there like the entire time. Like this is crazy.
Yes.
But I think that also shows too, like I don't know. I always get really irritated when people are like, "Oh, video game music isn't real music," and it's like, brother, like video games are an art form, just like
Yes,
movies,
they are.
TV. Like it really is. And I think just video games in general are. Yeah, I think we've seen it in the last I don't know maybe 8-10 years where like it's really like taken off as like this is like the medium that's really taken over the industry,
Yes.
like just like the entertainment industry. You have more streamers than ever, more content creators than ever, and of course that was a result of the pandemic, I believe as well. But I feel like whenever I was a kid, right, playing video games, it was like nah, like that's weird.
Yeah,
Like
no,
you get made fun of for it, but now it's like the cool thing, and especially with a game like this, I think like I just think the music really helps with that, and I think the music really and this is with any video game, but like you can really get moved by like if I don't if I play a video game and it sucks, but there's like one or two good soundtracks in the game, I will always remember that. I'll always remember
yeah.
it, and it's always especially impactful when it tells a story. So, on the topic of how this game is as impactful as it was for you, how do you think this game Expedition 33 stands out from other RPGs? Like in what ways does this game stand out from like let's say I don't know a Final Fantasy X or like a
Yeah.
Persona? I just want to pick your brain on that.
I feel like obviously there was so much debate with the Final Fantasy community, and I get it. I love Final Fantasy, so I get it.
Me too.
But I think for me, this game, and you can see that this is like a passion project as well because they have played RPGs themselves, and it seems like they took every single thing that does work well in an RPG or that they love, and they all put it together in this like beautiful package with everything. And I love that because obviously it has amazing music, a lot of worlds, amazing characters. Obviously, the story is incredible with so many twists, which I think is like very Final Fantasy ish to me because in a lot of the Final Fantasy, you have a lot of twists and turns, and I do love that a lot. And I feel like they have done this very well. But they also kind of reinvented turn-based combat ish. I mean, obviously, it was present in like some older RPGs, right? Like Super Mario RPG. But like the debate about turn-based combat over the past few years can even be tiring sometimes. Because I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I think there's just a turn-based combat in general can be as stressful sometimes as another, regular combat. Like you have to it's different. Like it's not maybe as like your reaction time, but you have to be prepared. You have to like think ahead of time what you're doing with your turns. You have to one single wrong move and you out. Like it can be very stressful. And I think they've done that so well with the pairing and the dodging that it kind of is like a love letter to turn-based RPG, in my opinion, because it's like they genuinely took everything that worked and then they put it together with like a new twist on it. And it's amazing because even though you can parry and dodge, which technically, if you're able to do all of that, you're great. You don't have to do anything else. But it's still really hard.
Oh yeah.
It's still really hard. You still really have to think about your turn. You still have to. But for me, it's amazing, and I do think that it got. I feel like sometimes some people will be like, "Oh, this game is turn-based. I don't want to play it."
So many
And
people when that game came out, and then after the fact, I saw some of those same accounts being like, I just got through the prologue and I'm wrecked, and then they end up
yeah,
liking it, But there are so many people who are like, oh, turn based, oh, I don't want to play that. But
yes.
sorry,
And
go
I
ahead.
think you kind of deprave yourself of so many beautiful stories and games that are very emotional or impactful by not wanting to play turn-based. I'll be honest, when I started D33, like obviously I remember seeing the first trailer and I was like, oh, the combat looks really cool. It's like something different. Um, but I wanted to play it for the story. Like that was my main thing. I was like, I want to experience the story.
Yeah.
And then we'll see if I'm somewhat okay at the combat or what I do with the combat. And then I ended up loving this combat so much more than I thought I would. It's almost addicting to learn how to parry an attack and like see yourself getting better and better and just like getting counter attacks and stuff like that or working on your build. Um, it's so fun because sometimes in like a regular turn-based RPG, you don't really have to like have a build necessarily. It's kind of just like unlocking some abilities or like better armor, and you kind of like good to go. But this kind of also it reminded me a lot of Elden Ring when you have to think of a build and stuff that you want to use to like get you know certain abilities with this versus others and things like that. And I feel like they really did that because it's not just a regular turn based. Like sure you can parry and dodge, but you also have to really think about how to build a character and how it works in in a team, right? And then you can do like insane damage, which is so satisfying.
Yeah, hundreds of millions of damage.
It's
Some
crazy
people
to
have been
me.
hitting for billions of damage.
I know, and I'm like, oh my god! And you have to put work into that. Like
Yeah,
it's not a given. You do have to work for it. But
yeah.
I love that it's there. Like not just the story, but this game has a lot of replayability, or like people keep playing even after they completed the story because there's so much thing to do, and you can always improve your builds and what you can use with certain characters and this and that. And I think that's amazing because that's how the game lives on as well after
Yeah,
you've played
and
it.
I know like a criticism people had in like Act 3 was like, oh, well, like when you get painted power, like the game gets too easy. You just, and then if you do all like the side quests before you do like the final dungeon, you just one shot everything. And, or even like people like, I mean, I ended up, whenever I got to, I'm talking about base Simon. So whenever I got to
Oh,
Simon, I was like, I got to his phase 2 when he like wipes you from the canvas, and I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I'm not putting up with that. I'm just gonna figure out how to delete this guy.
Yes.
And it took me like an hour to figure out like the build, and also just to get it like everything procced, and get a good roulette roll and everything like that. But I ended up like one shotting him, and I got a lot of comments being like, "Oh, like you didn't really beat him," blah 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 blah, things like that. And it's like, it's the fact that I can like I didn't look up any videos, I didn't look up any
Yeah.
guides, I came up with the build myself. I think that is satisfying in its own right.
It is.
Whenever you yourself figure out how to break the game, that's something that I love about turn-based RPGs in general. When you can figure out how to break the game yourself, because they intentionally let you do that, and it's not just
They
Expedition
do.
33.
No, you can
Yeah.
do that in Final Fantasy as well. You can in a lot of games, like if you work for it, and it's not cheating or cheesing or anything. If the
Yeah.
game lets you do it, it's a valid strategy.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like you're forcing, let's just say Simon, for example, like you're forcing him into like a loop where like he only does the short combo. You know what I mean? Or it's like you're figuring out your own way to like to handle it. And I would say Expedition 33, although like you said earlier, this combat has been done by like the Mario RPGs. Some other games as well. I think of the Mario RPGs, and I think like Paper Mario, a more simplified version
Yes.
as well. But I feel like Expedition 33 perfected this combat system.
They
Like I feel
did.
like this, if any developer is gonna tackle a combat system like this, this is the template right here. It's this
Oh yeah,
game
this
to
is
look
the
at.
baseline.
Yeah.
Because I think this combat, like, there were some people that were like, oh, I'm not sure this is, I want to play this game. But then there were some people that, let's say who play a lot of Souls games that were like, oh my God, this combat sounds very interesting. Let me try it. So I just feel like yeah, they somehow did it so well that it got a lot of people from like different gaming background.
Yeah,
You know?
I can attest to that. One of my best friends, his name is Joe. Shout out to Joe, by the way. But he doesn't play a lot of turn-based stuff. Like every now and then, but he's into like the Souls games, and he's into
Mm.
like all that stuff, and like into Monster Hunter and things like that. And I think Expedition 33, he has an Xbox, and I think it's free on Game Pass.
Yeah, it was.
And we were kind of like talking about it, and he was like, dude, I just like started it, and I think I really like it. And then by the end of the game, he was like, dude, thank you for like showing me this masterpiece. And I'm like, dude, even
Yeah.
it's converting people, and I love it. I love it. And I really think that can attest to not just the gameplay, because it does have very unique mechanics, but the cast is very lovable and very
Oh my God,
likable.
yes.
And I feel like I don't know about you, but I felt like I got pretty attached to like all the main characters. I mean,
Same.
I ended up getting attached to Renoir by the end of the game.
Yes, I'm
Cause
like, oh my
I'm
God.
like, dude, like, and okay, so I will ask you this before we move on to other questions. What
Okay.
ending did you initially choose?
Versos.
Virtual high five.
I didn't
Yes.
even think that was the hard, like, that was the weirdest thing for me. It
Yeah.
was like, I got to that and I'm like, my brain kind of went on like autopilot. And obviously, I'm streaming. So, I think people expect me to explain my choice or maybe like sit here for 30 minutes and I decide. And it was kind of like a 5 minute thing for me. It was like, that's just my feeling. And then
Yeah.
obviously, I explained my choice later.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I did another playthrough, New Game Plus, I had to do the same. I cannot not pick Verso's ending. I don't know what it is. I don't think there's a good ending, by the way, before there is any debate about
Right.
the endings. I don't think there is a good ending. They're both absolutely depressing to me.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like
but
you
for
win
me,
and lose in both of them. You know.
yes, but for me, like there is a, and I think I said that when I finished the game, but I think because there is like a line that they say, that you have to see things how they are and not how you want them to be. And that's how the endings are for me.
Yes.
Verso is things as they are. That's the reality. And Miles' ending is how she wants the things to be.
Yeah.
So, and then you pick whatever works for you, or like
Yeah.
which state you're basically stuck in, or does that make sense? It's like, oh, am I gonna live in denial, which is totally valid, and I get it. It's like a full-on coping mechanism, or are you gonna just accept the truth, even if it's really painful? And I think
Yeah.
like the game is aware of that.
Oh, for
Sorry, we
sure.
kind of going into the ending, which
No, no,
wasn't the
no,
question.
no. You're good. I want to talk about it.
But yes, for me, like I think the game is really aware of that. And I think this is why there is not a good ending either, because obviously the whole game deals with grief and how you move on, if you can even move on, because that's a whole other thing. And I feel like the game does so well at dealing with that such a difficult subject. And
Yes.
all the characters, obviously, like some of them are like a different stage of grief, or like process it a different way. But I think those are like the endings, like they kind of relate to that subject. Obviously, they are that subject, but they are like a representation of how someone chooses to deal with it,
No, yeah,
right?
I think that's so on point. I also chose Verso's ending initially. Obviously, I watched both of them, but
Yes, same. I
and
did. I was like, oh, I got to see the other one.
yeah, of course, of course. But like because at the end of the game, I'm like, I think Renoir is right. Like, and it's I like you could. I'm not justifying him, just like gomaging everyone at the end of Act
No.
Two, but like I'm just saying, like, dude, I think he's right. Like he has a point. Like this, and
He
like the way
does.
that I see it is like this is a dad who really just wants his daughter to come home, and he'll do
Yes.
whatever it is necessary for that. Renoir was, I think, my favorite character at the end of the game. By the time
Oh,
it
he
was all
was
said and done,
wonderful.
yeah, he was awesome, and I think like the reason why I chose like I mean I related and resonated with both endings because I felt like for me both endings represented two different stages of my life
Yes.
because I've also like I've dealt with a lot of like loss and I know what that's like and I feel like if I would have played this game at 16 years old I would have impulse chose Mael's ending easily
Yeah, I'm there with
because
you.
it's like I would not have I wouldn't want to let that grief go. Like I want to, and even
Yeah, yeah.
even though living in that painting might kill me, right? It might, like, I wouldn't want to let it go because it's like I just, because with my, in Alicia's case, she's she feels like an actual person in the canvas.
Yeah.
When she's living outside of the canvas, yeah, it's real, but she can't speak. She's all burned up because of the
Yes.
fire and everything, and she doesn't have her brother. But if she stays in the canvas, then she's denying reality, and it's going to eat her up. It's going to consume her. And I feel like that ending makes sense for somebody like Mael. That's exactly how I
It does.
expect a 16-year-old to react in going through something like that.
Because she also has this, she had a life. She has a life. It's not
Yes.
just like it's a whole, like I don't know, like, yeah, she's lived there for 16 years. She's built something. Because it's
Right.
not obviously, if she returns to the real world, like, yeah, she has to keep obviously grieving her brother, but she also has
Of
to
course.
grieve a life that she's no
Yes.
longer gonna have,
Yes,
and
which
other people that she knew from that life as well. So I do understand
yes.
why she doesn't want to move on. I get that because it's really hard letting a part of yourself go as
Yeah.
well, and
And
be like this part of. And I know there was like the thing I didn't really pick up the first time, but I did pick up it more after rewatching that, Verso tells her that she's such a strong paintress that she can just rebuild a life. And it's true, she could just paint another canva.
yeah,
She
but it's
could
not
just
going to be the
restart.
same.
But it's
Right.
not gonna be the same. And I think this is what is also, in a way, sometimes Miles' ending is more painful to me
Oh, for sure.
because
Yeah.
it's like, well, I feel for Verso a lot in her ending as well, but I feel so much for her because, yeah, she letting her go as something you've known your whole life is extremely difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why it's devastating. I genuinely don't think there is a good ending
Hmm.
at all, because in either cases it's so difficult to go through. But I understand, and I think Renoir understands that as well, which is why, he kinds of let her do, when they're arguing before we enter the Canva before the choice,
Right.
and
Of
he
course.
tells her, "All right, you win. You can do what you want,
Yeah,
right?"
and I like
And
I like how he says, like, I'll leave the light on for you
yes,
because, like,
exactly that.
it's you. I think he knew, like, that she was, like, lying to him, that she had no
Yes,
intention,
I
but there's
think I think
always
he just knew, but he loves
yeah.
her so much. He's like her little
He's
girl,
a
so he's
loving
gonna say
father.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And I'm with you on the, I don't think there's one, like, good ending. I prefer Verser's ending because I felt
same.
like that ending gave actual closure to the story.
Yes, I
Like,
think
you
so too.
actually,
Yes,
because like the family's getting closure, but also it just felt more complete, I guess. And
yes,
that's also, like, why, like, again, why I prefer that ending is because, like, Versus ending is like how I am now, right?
yeah.
Versus, like, whenever I was dealing with, all, the things that I was dealing with. It's like this I want closure, right? I want closure. I don't want to hang on to this grief any longer because I know it's going to
Hmm.
consume me because I've been through that, Mael. I
Yeah.
understand, but I understand again, it makes sense that a teenager would make a choice like that. It just
Of
makes
course it
it
does.
makes sense. But no, I mean, I love that it gave you an option, right? I love that it gave you
I love
gave you an
that
option.
too.
Part of me was like, do I wish there was one conclusive ending? Sure, but in this way, I feel like everybody wins, or Twitter just goes up in flames, which also is what happened because
Yes.
everyone was
Oh,
like, "Oh, this ending's canon. No, this one's the right one." Blah blah blah, and it's like, it's so hard to have conversations with people like that, and whenever you try to
um.
explain your
Well,
viewpoint.
Because I think people ended up, I think a lot of the things that came up sometime with one at the ending or the other is that I think people got really attached to the character. Like, obviously, I'm not gonna lie, I picked Verso's ending first because I just love Verso. I genuinely just
Yeah,
love him.
yeah. Yeah.
If I know he's an unperfect character and
That's
an
why I love him.
unreliable protagonist, but I love that. Yeah, same. I'm
Yeah.
just like, I love that because I think for me it makes him feel so real because he is not perfect. He's lying. There's things he's not telling me. I don't know whether to believe him or not.
Yeah.
He has his own things that he's going through, and I just love him. Like he really, really grew on me, and it was not, a thing that was going to happen because oh my god, I was mad at the end of Act One, and when Act Two started,
Of
I
course.
crashed out. The first day of me playing Act Two, I did nothing but like I think the beach volleyball. I was like, I don't want to play. I don't like Verso. Verso's always dead. I don't know how to play for him. Gustav is my king. I don't want anything to do with this guy. And he really, really grew on me to the point that I was like, no, I gotta, you know, he's everything. And so obviously, I feel like my choice of ending the first time was more, yeah, I'm picking Verso because I think I like him more. I won't deny that.
That's fair.
But I now going back and seeing both endings, I feel like I'm able to still like take a step back, I guess, and see both pros and cons for
Yeah.
each.
Of course.
But I do think sometimes some people get really passionate about their favorite character, and it kind of be like blinded into like, oh, this is the right, thing because this is my favorite character.
It's typical like
Um,
internet Twitter drama, typical stuff.
it's rough out there.
It is. It is. I don't even engage like with like those conversations online anymore.
Oh,
'Cause it's not even worth it. It's literally not even worth it. So with the success of this game, with how impactful it was, with whether it's the endings, the characters, the gameplay, what do you think this means for specifically like AAA studios going forward, right? Because this game put the AAA industry to shame. Like it was a $10 million budget and they like made this game in 5 years when like some of these other like more popular IPs, they're taking like 7 or 8 years. I mean, look at like GTA 6, look at Kingdom Hearts, like
Yeah.
they're taking so long to come out. And of course, there's other reasons for that, but like they made this game from the ground up in 5 years with a fairly low budget for like a video game. What does this mean for like AAA studios? Are we going to see more games like Expedition 33? Are we going to see a rise in, turn-based games, in the next couple of years? What do you think?
I think we are. Okay. I have like another, example, but it's like Breath of the Wild for me. You know how Breath of the Wild came out and kind of like obviously there were
Yes.
other open world games before, but I
Great
feel like
comparison.
Breath of the Wild kind of a breath of fresh air. Sorry, no pun intended, but
No, intend your puns. It's okay.
a whole new open world thing, and it was
Yes.
obviously there's a whole other debate with that we won't go into within the Zelda fandom, but so many games, and it was kind of like a thing, like the Breath of the Wild style, like you would see so many games that had it's just my cat, but
It's all
that had
good.
the kind of the same opening, and a lot of these open world game came out and would kind of be referenced or compared to Breath of the Wild. And I
Yes.
feel like this is what's going to happen for me. I don't know why, but I feel like this will happen with Expedition 33, especially for other turn-based games. I think we're gonna see a rise of other turn-based game or maybe franchises that might take a new approach to turn-based, in my opinion. Because I do feel like there has been a lot of obviously again turn-based debate, which obviously we know some franchises are walking away from because they don't think that that's what people want anymore.
But
When there is
clearly
still
people want it. There's an audience
exactly,
for it.
I think
Yeah.
people want it. There is an audience for it, so I do think this game will impact other studios. I think they're gonna look at it and be like, okay, what did they do right? Because at the end of the day, it's a business. Like, obviously, it's
Absolutely.
art, but it's also a business, and they are in the business of making money, right? So I think they're gonna look at this game and be like, what did work with this game, and what can we do
Yeah, the
to
Breath of the
make our
Wild.
game as successful?
Right. Yeah.
So I do think we're gonna see some turn-based changes, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure we'll see some games that have pairing mechanics It has to be.
It has to happen.
It has
Yeah.
to happen. You know,
I think the Breath of the Wild comparison is so spot on because when people think open world games now, they think Breath of the Wild. But Breath of the Wild is not the first open world game. There's
no,
Elder
it wasn't.
Scrolls, there's The Witcher, there's Fallout, there's like all these other games that are open world. I mean, those are just the first three that came to my head, but it's like pre Breath of the Wild, everyone was talking about Skyrim and all this, and now like people like Breath of the Wild is the open world game. It redefined like what an open world game, like what
Yes.
a almost perfect open world game is, and I feel like Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is that, but for turn-based games. I 100%
Yeah.
agree with you on that. Now, do you think the next Final Fantasy game is going to go back to turn-based now?
This is a big question because in my opinion, they had walked away from turn-based. I think they decided that the younger audiences don't want to play turn-based. And I think this is why they went on to, live action or like live combat.
Yeah,
I never know what the exact term for it is. I always like,
hack and slash, like
Yeah, but
DMC coded with FF16. Like I don't know. Like I think like you're right where it's like because they at Final Fantasy, at least mainline Final Fantasy games haven't been like
yes.
truly turn-based in a long time, and FF16 was very like controversial in that aspect.
Yeah,
I loved FF16, and I love action games, but I do like turn-based games as well.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if the next Final Fantasy, for example, and like the reason why I bring up Final Fantasy is because that is kind of a hot button topic in terms of just like, you had FF16 in 2023. Now you have like Hamaguchi like praising Expedition 33 and things like that too. And I'm like wondering what will happen if they do go back to turn-based? Because I could see it happening.
Yeah,
and
I could see it happening.
I'm not sure what they're gonna do.
I think it's like they probably see the success of Expedition 33 and they're like, oh, maybe we were wrong. Because Final Fantasy is obviously a series that's been around for a while, and a lot of the people who fell in love with this series, they fell in love, I'm guessing, also because it's turn-based, right? Like turn-based game. You've played the series for how many years? Every single game was turn-based. That's the thing. And I think a lot of people, they either don't like if it's not turn-based combat, but I also think there is an audience that maybe they're not comfortable if it's not turn-based combat. It's harder. Like, let's be honest. Some games, we're not necessarily talking about Elden Ring, but even some other games that where you have to just fight for your life and dodge in there, it's hard. And I know there is an easy difficulty, but even then, it's hard.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it scares sometimes some gamers because let's say if you spend your whole life playing turn-based game and suddenly your favorite franchise is like, oh, we're not doing turn-based anymore. I get it. I understand why you could be angry or dissatisfied, but I also understand the point of, the Final Fantasy franchise. They don't just want to appeal to that base of gamer.
They're trying to appeal to a modern audience, right?
Yes, and so they're trying to evolve the series. It's hard. I mean, it's a series that's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, they gotta, reinvent the wheel, I guess, if we can say that. And obviously, it's very controversial every single time because a lot of people want turn-based, and they didn't think people did want that. So now, honestly, I'll be very curious to see what they do, because given the success of Expedition 33, they might be like, oh my god, a game can be incredibly successful even with turn-based combat. Because it's not just the combat at the end of the day, it's the story, it's the music, it's the character, it's the world, it's everything. And I think sometimes people also kind of focus too much on the combat. Be like, oh, it's turn-based, I don't want to play it. Oh, it's not turn-based, I don't want to play it.
And you might be surprised. Give it a shot.
Just try it. You never know. Like, I think there's just so many stories that deserve to be experienced, regardless of combat. Just.
Yeah.
But I know but like, again, gaming is like, I come from. So I used to game a lot when I was little. But
did you grow up with Final Fantasy?
I I didn't play, but my cousin used to play Final Fantasy 7 all the time. But
Oh, okay, cool.
I did have a PlayStation, but weirdly I played a lot of platformers
Me
and
too.
racing game. What it was, but it's kind of the time where you didn't really have internet, as your parents kind of bought games, and that was
Let
the
me
game
guess.
you were playing.
You were a Spyro gal, weren't you?
Yes, that was my first game.
That's so funny. I just like it was a guess because Crash Bandicoot was my first video game ever, and to this day it's my second favorite franchise behind Kingdom Hearts. Like I've always just carried Crash with me.
Yeah.
Even now I'm
special.
30 years old and I still like love playing Crash. I'm recently like I'm going through the Insane trilogy again for like the umpteenth time,
I
just
love
because
that
it's like
so much.
I just need to scratch the Crash itch,
Yeah,
But
well,
I
I feel that. I used to have a yearly Spyro, so I mostly played just Spyro the Dragon, like the first one. But I used to have a yearly playthrough. Like I would just replay through the game every year at some
Yes.
point. It's just like a comfort. Like I know everything at this point. But weirdly, I didn't play Final Fantasy growing up, so I was like,
I didn't
okay.
either. My first FF was 15. And then I went backwards from
That's
there.
nice though. It's kind
Yeah.
of good. I played 7, but because I played Kingdom Hearts, also late, but I played Kingdom Hearts, and I saw these Final Fantasy characters, and I'm like, kind of want to play their games.
That's how I was, and then I
So I was
remember
like, well, let me play this game with Cloud in it.
Yes.
And then that's how I played 7. But,
yes, and then I remember checking out like Final Fantasy 1 cuz I didn't understand cuz I grew up with Kingdom Hearts, right? And so it's like I didn't understand that every Final Fantasy game was its own different game,
Yeah.
and then Cloud was in like Final Fantasy 7, and then Final Fantasy 1 was like this like pixel 2D, whatever it was. And I'm like, this game sucks. But I was also a kid,
Yeah.
I actually replayed, so I ended up a few years ago buying the pixel remasters. And then I actually played FF1 on my Switch. And I'm like, this game's actually pretty good, now that I'm older, now that I understand. But yeah, 15 was my first. And I eventually played 7. And I wanted to talk about 7 because of the 7 remake trilogy. I think, and I'm curious to hear what you think about this. I think the 7 remake trilogy, I'll say 7 Rebirth because that's the latest one that came out. I think it has one of the best combat systems out there. And I think
love it.
if like Final Fantasy 17 or whatever the next mainline Final Fantasy game is, if it adopted that combat system, I think you can satisfy like both
I think you
audiences
can.
with that.
I really think you can. It's really satisfying. Like obviously I played OG 7 first, but then I did play remake, and I like I like turn-based combat. Like I feel like I'm a odd audience, to be fair, because I will play anything that I'm interested in. Like you can give me the worst combat ever. If I like the
That's
story
how
and
I
the
am.
character, I will keep going because I want to know the story and spend time with the character. But
Yes.
you can give me the best gameplay ever. If I have no interest in the story, I can't.
Fair.
Like
fair.
there's no, like, I don't know. There's no drive forward, I guess. Like it's fun combat for a little bit, and then I'm kind of checked out. So I love playing 7, and I loved the turn based. It was really fun. Like I love the material system. But I think when I remember starting remake, and I was like, oh my god, this is so fun.
This is it. that was my thought. I'm like,
so
this is
fun.
it. This is
Like,
it right here.
Because you get a good mix of both.
It's a
Like,
perfect
the fact that
mesh.
you can somewhat post battle just to go through your menu is so cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you decide what you bet. I don't know. I really, really like that. And then you can obviously like change party members as you go. I think that's incredibly fun. I really don't know what they're gonna do with 17. To be fair, if there is a FF17 or whatever they're working on, because I do think they are in like a bit of an impasse, in my opinion. Like they
Yeah.
probably are like maybe the expectation for 16, like they had higher expectation and it didn't meet them, or I think the main issue, obviously, Final Fantasy stories, I do feel like sometimes they're a little complex. Like I love the majority of the Final Fantasy stories. Like I'm loving these games so much, but I know
Yeah.
sometimes the stories can be very like fluffed, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of like stuff to it, and I think sometimes some people are kind of lost. It's hard to keep track, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think the story is necessarily the issue. with Final Fantasy. I think really they don't know what to do with the combat.
Yeah, and that's why I'm wondering if Expedition 33 is going to influence how they approach their next
I
Final
think they
Fantasy.
will.
I think so too, and like even I mean, you're talking about like this like because I agree like Final Fantasy stories, especially when you get like to the ends of Final Fantasy games, it's like dude, we went from like taking out a couple of like goons to now we're like fighting like a witch that can throw planets at us. I'm thinking of like FF8 at
Yes.
in my head.
It gets
You know,
complicated.
yeah,
Like, you
and
have
it's like,
to
what the
follow.
heck? Time traveling and like this, the final boss is throwing a planet at me and it's not killing me, but it's like what the heck? So, but with like, okay, so like with Expedition 33 though, yeah, the story was very simple. I felt. Right, it was very.
Yes, that's true.
There was a
short
lot to
game,
it.
too.
There's a lot to it. It's very deep, but it wasn't like I don't know. To me, like I could follow everything that was going on.
Yes. Yes, I think so too. Like, obviously, you have a lot of questions, but that's just the story. Like, you just, But I think for me, it was like kind of straight to the point. And I think it's because if you only focus on story, for example, it is a shorter game.
Yes.
Right? Like, it's a bit of a shorter game. Like, you can. Obviously, there is a ton of side content that can, make it longer.
Some of the side quests should have been main quests.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I really agree with that. But I think they didn't want to force people because I think having a long game also sometimes deter people from playing it. Like, let's be honest, there's so many games. Sometimes there are multiple games that you want to play released on the same day.
Yes.
It's hard out there. Like, So when you sometimes, I think that's also like some franchises' issues is like the game, that you're getting in for 100 hours. Not everybody has that. Right? But obviously, if the story's good, you're going to keep going, because so they do have to have a good story. But I think sometimes we also used to these RPGs being very long. I think it's kind of like a RPG. I mean, some RPGs are shorter, but I think the majority of RPGs, at least in my opinion, or maybe it's because what I play. I feel like a lot of them are long.
I feel like the average length of like an RPG or like a JRPG is like you're gonna get at least 40 to 60 hours.
Yes,
playing it, which is a lot of time. It is a lot of time.
It is a lot of time, but I think the story of Expedition 33, if you just do main story, is even shorter than that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I did every piece of side content in that game, because I was just so hooked on it. So
I would say I was like, I gotta do it all, but I don't think it's as long, which is maybe like an appeal as well. But I do think we're gonna start seeing a lot of games that take upon Expedition 33, whether it's like the pairing and dodging, or maybe more grief related stories. I do think this game.
That's
is
why
FF7
was so good, in my opinion. Like it dealt with that topic of grief.
Yes. No, it does.
So
I don't know. I feel like they will. I don't know if. I mean, obviously, I'm not. I'm not a AAA studio, but I feel like, again, they're in a business, and you always have to look at the competition.
Yeah.
Or whether
exactly.
That's just how things. Again, bringing Breath of the Wild, but like even like Sonic Origins. Is it Sonic Origin? No, Sonic Frontiers. Sorry, Sonic Frontiers. Do you remember like when there was a trailer of Sonic Frontier? And it's kind of like the same. It's like you think Breath of the Wild. It's like open world Sonic, and like one of the shot is like the same as when Link exits and you see the whole world. So many games have done that. Like they own twist and they own. Yes, and I think that E33 is gonna be like that.
E33.
Obviously, I can be wrong.
E33, I think, could be the Breath of the Wild of turn-based RPGs.
Right. I really think it has to influence. There's no way. Like it was so impactful.
So
and it worked. It's successful.
What can other franchises learn, do you think, from the success of E33?
I think, well, for me, the main lesson would be to just make the game you want to make.
That is so big and important, and I feel like a lot of developers get caught up in, again, trying to like appease a specific audience, or trying to push like agendas in video games as well. But it's like, make the game you want to make. That's what these guys did. It was 30 people.
Yes, and they just did. And obviously it's easier as an indie company to just...
Absolutely.
You don't have to answer to anybody. They obviously don't have shareholders and things like that, so they could just make whatever. But it kind of also really reminds me of Nintendo. You know how kind of Nintendo, they don't... Obviously, they do have shareholders to answer to, but they kind of also just make the games they want.
Yeah. They can afford
And
to.
yeah, but I feel like that's just the I think that's the thing for me. It's just a lot of the developers in studio, they're just again, they're trying. They have a really business focus, which again is normal. But I think sometimes it does impact a game, whether it's the story or combat or things like that, because it's not just about the game anymore as like an art form. It's all these things around it, and we need this game to be successful. And I'm not saying obviously Zenfall was like they obviously also needed their game to be successful, but
Sure.
it like I don't know. There's so many interviews where they're like, "Oh, we didn't think our games was gonna be good."
Because they're just
You know?
having fun. They love their jobs.
But I think they had a vision with that story and the game they wanted to make, and that was just the recipe. And obviously, it's easier said than done, because there's just so much that goes into making a game. But I do think we're gonna see a lot of, people trying to recreate this in one way or the other.
Yeah,
But it's gonna be like, oh my god, the new E33 or E33 like, it's gotta be. It has to be.
Yeah, I've already seen. I think it was a post on Twitter of like somebody already made like an exact like copy and paste of like E33's combat system, and it's like you can't even say this isn't even taking influence. You're just copy and pasting. But it's like it had like that impact to where like they're literally gonna do that. Like it had the stagger bar, it had the turns on the side, it had like all the camera shots and everything, and I'm just like. There's a difference, and I'm eventually going to do a podcast on this, but there's a difference between being influenced by something and straight up copy and pasting something. And I agree with you. I think that you make a very good point. Make the games you want to make and enjoy making them and have fun and treat your team well. These games, especially like these indie titles that are that have been successful. It's like the developers are treating their team well. Another game I'm thinking of is Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade did pretty good when it released, and it did so good that the head of the company bought all of their employees PS5s.
Oh, that's
because the game did as well as it did for them. And so it's like when you're enjoying making the game and like you have that environment where like everybody has the same vision and you actually are able to put that vision on paper and in a game. I mean, when the developers have fun, the player's gonna have fun.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like you and that's the thing with E33, you see it. Like you start the game and depending on how long you spend in the prologue, but in as little time as 30 minutes, you can be like, what is this doing to me? Like I cry a lot of games in general. Like usually at the end, I get attached and things. I do play a lot of sad games, but I remember being like, I'm playing this prologue and like, why am I already crying? I literally just met them. I don't really know anything about these characters, but I'm already so invested. In as little time, the game is doing something right.
Yeah, I think also just the performances in this game were a huge contribution to that. Like they sold it so well, and it was mocapped, and then they added the voices later. But I mean, dude, the eyeball physics in this game, and the
smiles, also.
Everything. It's like, oh my gosh, dude, this is amazing, and it all feels natural, and those are the games that I get invested in the most because it's like I feel like I'm sitting at the campfire having that conversation with Gustav and Lune whenever she's like, "We have to focus on the mission." He's like, "Screw the mission," whatever.
It's the best.
It's so good, God. So good.
And you get so attached to them so quickly. It's like the little things they do, like it either makes you laugh or smile or sad. Like you just get so attached so fast because they feel so real.
Yes.
And I do think it's gonna impact a lot of things. I mean, how can it not?
How can it not? It already is.
Yeah. So it's kind of like Souls game as well. You know how there's a lot of games, obviously they're not FromSoft, but it'll be like, oh, that's what Souls like.
Lies of P is the most recent one that I played. Not FromSoft, but honestly, I don't know if you've played Lies of P.
No, yeah.
That game.
I've only heard good things.
Okay, so not to get off topic, but best story out of any Souls-like I've played. In my opinion. But it's very good. I think that one is a good one to get into. I'd say, okay, Elden Ring is like the Souls-like to get into, or the Soulsborne game to get into if you're new to it, because just the variety and like the accessibility and like the different play styles, you can literally play the game however you want. But Lies of P is another really good one. Like if you liked a game like Stellar Blade, I've been recommending Lies of P to people. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I do think we're gonna start seeing games like that be like, it has their E3 E3. I don't know what we're gonna be calling it, but
Expedition,
like,
I don't know.
Yeah, I do think that's going to like it happened with so many games, and
Yes.
I feel like it's going to be this way, like because that's just how it is. Like if you take any sort of like game, in all of them, like same with the FPS game, whatever, like they all take things upon another. Like
Right.
it's just the way things work. So this game is obviously so successful.
Yeah.
Because that's like the thing as well. Like you do see, obviously, we are around a lot of gamers, right? Being on Twitch and YouTube and all of that. But like obviously there are games coming out, like when Rebirth came out, and I do have a lot of people around me that are playing Rebirth and things like that. But it still was pretty divisive, right? And not everybody plays it. But it's like Expedition 33 was like everybody was playing it and everybody was loving it. It was so. That's it. It was all we were doing, all we were talking about. It was like very anonymous, like, well, I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't happen often. There's not always games like that people in like, this is the game.
This is a once in a generation kind of game.
Yeah. So that's why people are like, game of the decade. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I'm with them. I'm with them. Maybe in 2029, before 2030 comes around, we'll do like a decade in review and just look at like, okay, what truly is like the game of the decade, because
it might be.
Yeah. Well, Cyuni, this has been awesome.
It's been so fun.
We've been
Thank you.
yapping for an hour.
I know, it goes fast. Sorry, I
goes
feel like
by so
I
fast.
get off topic sometimes because I'm passionate about this
you're
game.
good. You're good. I like whenever you guys talk, right? It gives me content, right? So, well, we do have one final segment I want to do. So,
Should I be nervous?
maybe not that nervous. So go ahead and pull up that Google Doc that I sent
Okay, I
you.
have it.
All right, so I'm gonna have you. This is what I'm gonna have you do, Cyuni. I'm gonna have you blind rank Expedition 33 characters 1 through 10.
Okay.
So, and I've got the list. I'm gonna read them off to you, and then you just type wherever you want to put them.
So, it doesn't matter. Like, does the one mean anything? No, just.
So like number 1 is like, this is like your number 1 character. Number 10 is like is towards the bottom of the list. Number 5,
God, yeah.
yeah. But it's a blind ranking, so it's
I
like,
get some enemies.
yeah, it's a blind ranking. So like, keep that in mind. You don't know what character is coming next. So
Okay.
your first character is Lune.
Okay. Okay. I'm good to go.
Lune at 5.
Yeah.
Okay, Lune at 5. All right. Right in the middle. It's safe. The number 1 character, putting the first character right in the middle is safe. I respect it. Your second one is Renoir.
Ooh. Okay.
3. Okay.
Really?
Third, you've got Minoko.
Oof. Oh, this is gonna get so difficult.
It's
I
not
feel
meant
like
to
I've
be
already
easy.
I feel like I've already messed up my my ranking.
Oh, number 2. Interesting.
I don't know what this character did to me, but quick side notes.
Yes.
Obviously do play a lot of RPGs, but I never do. If a character's a blue mage, they usually get benched. Sorry. It's too much grinding.
Yeah.
I don't really get it. This is the first character ever that is basically like technically a blue mage where
Yes,
I had
the
to
enemy
go and
skill
get
guy.
everything.
Yeah.
And,
oh, yeah.
And I got everything and I used them and it was in my party and I don't know, this character was too funny to me.
I'm kind of the same way where like I guess like in FF8, Quistis I think was the blue mage and I use her a ton. But I'm kind of the same way where I'm just like, I don't know what to do with you. Like you have so many options and that's why I don't know what to do with you, So that's why you get benched.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's why it's very special because it's the first ever blue mage where I'm like, I'm doing all this.
That's fair. Okay, your fourth character is Gustav.
Oh God! I feel
You
like I've messed up my ranking.
can't change it.
No, I know. I know.
Okay, Gustav is at 4. All right. Your fifth character, maybe I'll give you a little break here. You've got Clair.
Ooh. It's hard because I think I love them all.
Yeah, this one's not meant to be easy because all these characters are good characters in my opinion.
Yeah, no, same. I love them all for different reasons.
Okay, after Clair, we have Esquier.
It's so bad. I need to rework my ranking.
Don't worry, I'll ask you how you're gonna want to change it after we're done. Right.
Okay.
Mael is next.
See, no, this is bad.
Uh-oh, Mael's going at 8. Oh,
know!
snap! Poor
That's so many
girl. Okay, we've got 3 more left. You've got 1, 9, and 10 left.
Yeah,
And there's only so many Expedition 33 characters, right?
I know.
Your next one, you've got CL. CL at
Lord.
9.
You got enough space.
Okay, you've got 1 and 10.
Oh, this is bad.
Next one, you have Verso.
Yeah.
He's
I was
obviously going on
doing
1.
it. I had to. I
Had to.
cannot. I don't know. One of my favorite character, I think, across media in general.
Wow.
That's how. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think he's just so imperfect.
Yeah.
And for me, that's like.
I love that. Yeah. He's so imperfect, and that's why he's such a good character.
That's why he's such a. Because he's unreliable. I love unreliable characters. I don't know what it does, but because you don't know, and I think that's what keeps you on your toes during a story. Is he telling the truth? Is he lying? You don't know.
Yeah, I
He's
agree.
serving his own purpose. Like
Yeah.
he's you know. So yeah, I don't know. He's so well written. So I
Yeah.
cannot. Obviously, it helps that he's voiced by Ben Starr. I think that helps
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot.
for sure.
But
For sure.
aside of that,
Yeah. The character you're putting at number 10
I feel bad.
is Sophie. You're putting Sophie at
Aw.
number 10.
So
Poor girl. Gets
Poor girl. I
homage
like
and gets put at
Sophie.
number 10. That's insane. Okay, so now I'm gonna ask you, all right, no,
Oh my
it's not all lost. All right, so if you could change your list, which I'm assuming you probably are going to do,
yeah.
even though it's difficult, because again, these are, in my opinion, these are all great characters for different reasons. How would you change this list?
I really need to bring SKA up.
SKA needs to go. He's the GOAT. Like,
Yeah.
you
I mean,
can't.
he's everything.
If you hate or just don't like SKA, I'm convinced you're just not a good person. I'm sorry.
Oh, he's too funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's so pure, too.
He's amazing. I love him. When you replay the game, you realize SKA tells you a lot of. You think he's silly this whole time.
No,
and he
he's-
does some random stuff.
Yeah.
But he actually tells you things for what they are.
Yeah.
It's so funny
Yep.
to replay the game, and you're like, "Are you just spoiling the game for me?" SKA? But the just Mon Ami is so funny to me. So I think I have to bring SKA up.
Okay.
That's bad because I think I have to put SKA in 3,
Okay.
which means that my poor Gustav's going down also. But
Oh, not Gustav. Not the husbando. Man.
I love Gustav, but yeah, but when you think about it, Gustav is kind of like the perfect protagonist. Does that make
Sure.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because like he doesn't really need a lot of character development, right?
No.
He's already like a great character. Like I would agree with you. He's like the perfect protagonist, which is why they, again, spoilers. We talked about spoilers the entire podcast, but just in case anyone's skipping ahead, they kill him in Act 1, and it's like, and that I think like I think it was a good choice. It hurt, but I felt it when he died, like, because I was attached to him. He truly was like the perfect protagonist
Oh, he
for
was.
as long as they had him around for.
He was everything. He was funny. I liked his play style. Obviously, the fact that he says for those who come after, every time we do his
Yeah.
overcharge. I just loved him. He was in my party the whole time. The day I finished Act 1, somebody in chat asked me, I was like, who's your favorite character? And 20 minutes before the thing, and I'm like, oh, Gustav's my favorite.
So you put what SKA at 3?
Yeah,
Okay.
Eski in 3. So yeah, so we kind of bring everybody down. I do feel bad about having Mael so low. Not gonna lie,
Right.
because I do love Mael a lot, but I love Clea. I know we don't get a lot of Clea in there, and you know I've suffered through a lot of fights because Clea designed all these things.
Yeah.
But I love Clea. I need more of Clea.
Yeah.
I need to know more, and it's really hard. Like it's just I love them all. I feel like this is one of the games where I don't hate. You know, like it's hard to hate somebody,
Yeah.
right? Like they all, because again, like the same with Renoir. Like if you ask me at the end of Act 1, or even in the, you know, I would put Renoir in 10.
Right. Then at the end of the game, it's like, to me, I'm putting him at 1. Like, I'm sorry, you know? And that's just great writing.
But even as like a sort of a villain at the beginning, he is very impactful. Like the sound, obviously, like the sound
cane.
design and the you hear it and it's like, oh my god, you know, like PTSD.
Yes.
It's kind of like Sephiroth for me. You know, like
Yeah.
you hear the first few notes of like, you know, and I'm like, oh god, you know, and I feel like only a very few villains can do that.
Yeah. And it's hard to even call him a villain at the end. He's an antagonist.
Well,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's so, yeah.
At first, when you see him,
Yeah.
yes, you would be like, "Oh my god, he's the bad guy," right? But
Yeah.
obviously, he isn't, and it's the same, right? It's like kind of the same as Verso. Like he's not perfect at all, but he's also doing what is right for his family. Like he's also grieving, but he has to go through this whole thing. Like his wife is lost, you know, obviously grieving. One of his daughter is like completely gone because like refuses to come home. Like he's the same.
Yeah.
He has to deal with so much. So you cannot but not feel for him.
Yeah. So you'd move
Because,
you'd move Mael up for sure. Yeah, Gustav would have to go down if SKA goes up. Okay. So other than that, you'd say it's a pretty good list.
I feel bad for Gustav, but I just, to be fair, Verso, Monoko, and Eskia is kind of like my trio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's why the Verso ending.
That's so perfect because they are like the trio.
They are.
When you think about it.
And I think this is why it works because like their relationship, like the Verso Monoko relationship is amazing. Like you can tell that they obviously know each other for so long and they have this banter and this little thing that is just between them. I don't know. They're just so funny. Like the Monoko side quest, you know, for the rank, one of the most funny moments for me in the game.
Please help me.
When he's like, please help me.
Please help me.
I just can't. Like I just love them so much. And I got just really, really attached to them. And they also are very because they know, obviously they know the truth, right?
Yeah.
Both Monoko and Eskia know the truth since the beginning. But they obviously don't say anything and they will just do whatever Verso. Like they love him so
They're
much.
the most loyal companions
And they're the
that
most
anybody
loyal,
could
yeah.
ask for.
And he's like, okay, you know, we have to erase the Kenva, and they hug him, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
And for me, like they will go through whatever he wants, and they will support him. And I think I don't know, it means a lot to me.
Yeah.
But obviously, all these characters are amazing. Like it does pain me to put Mael and Ciel solo. Like
Right.
Ciel made me cry. They're all so good. I don't. It's hard because it's a very, very good cast.
Yes.
So, but
All right.
that's my ranking.
Well, Cyuni, thank you for coming on the What's Brewing podcast. This was such a fun discussion. Got to talk about E33 and some other games sprinkled in there as well. But go ahead and just tell everybody where we can find you and what you're going to be doing.
So I mainly stream on Twitch 3 days a week. Currently playing Persona 5 Royale. I'm already addicted. I am playing through Final Fantasy games as well. Currently on Final Fantasy 5. Trying to play them all. I still have a few of them to play. So that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. And then I also post edited playthroughs on YouTube. So if there are some games, you know, that you would like to see, eventually they get edited down and they're on YouTube.
All
So
right.
that's me.
All right. Well, I'm going to have, like I said earlier, I'm going to have all of Cyuni's links in the description down below. Cyuni, thank you for yapping about
thank
E33 with me. This was a blast, and that's going to conclude today's episode of What's Brewing. My name's Andy Brew. That's Cyuni over there. I'll see you guys next time.